Hello guys, NautoAis here, and I want to give my thoughts on Square-Enix at the Tokyo Game Show. Surprisingly, they are actually doing their new strategy, which is Reboots and Awakens. So for people who don't know what that is, it's a new strategy for Square-Enix after, well, unfortunately it's been confirmed that both Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, well, it failed. So you might say, wait a minute, those are good games. Yes, it fails due to circumstances because it was an exclusive console, PlayStation 5. Not a lot of people have it on the PlayStation 5. It would have made more sense if it was on the PlayStation 5 and Steam at least. But the talk behind it was Sony paid them a lot of money to make it a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Doesn't really make sense, but they tried it. They tried multi-platform. I know a lot of people got pissed when Final Fantasy 13 went to the 360, but it just made sense. 15 was also in the Microsoft console. Again, so, I mean, it kind of makes sense that Square Enix and Sony kind of like buddies, but not everyone can afford a PlayStation 5, let alone a Pro, but that's a different story there because, of course, if you didn't know, Rebirth is going to be PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced, but that's a different story there. So anyway, so they are starting to do their Reboots and Awaken, making their game multi-platform. So first of all, Project Triangle is going to be in the MetaQuest. Hopefully it'll go to the PlayStation in the long run because people have been asking that one. So they finally did it with Octopath Traveler. So why not do it also with Triangle Strategy? We'll just have to wait and see. So the bigger ones are two mana games also going to be on the Xbox. And they're also going to be on Game Pass as of right now of this recording. And those are first, The Legend of Mana, which is a PlayStation game. Sort of a 2D beat 'em up. It's sort of interesting what it is. I played in the original PlayStation. It is a fun game. So now you can get in a multiple version, a PSN version. Of course, the remastered version now is everywhere. And the bigger one is the remake of Trial of Mana. So when it first launched, it was on Steam, Switch, and PlayStation. Once again in the Xbox until now. So also Trial of Mana. Again, that's a big one. Good game. Is it really fun than the original? Well, there's sort of a quality of life. And to some extent, both games are like too different. It's orange and apple to some extent because you play the 2D version of Trial of Mana, it is very 2D. While Trial of Mana of the remake, well, they made it 3D, literally like open world style. So I'm just saying that. But the biggest one here that people are now happy, and Square Enix is finally learning, and that is Final Fantasy Pixel Perfect. So of course, if you don't know the history about this, I think it was in E3 2020, 2022, I can't remember. It was first revealed on mobile, and then later on Steam, and for a while they believe was that that's where they're going to get the most market because a lot of these games already been out. Doesn't really make sense. Later on, they decided to put it on Switch and PlayStation, and finally now on the Xbox. Again, multi-platform option is good. Definitely this one. For me personally, I think it's a good idea. More people will try them who never played a Final Fantasy. They are fun. They are very OG. For me personally, I've been playing them since I was in grade school, so I already know the story. Been playing them again and again with the re-release, the quality of life improvement. Am I going to play the Pixel Perfect in the long run? If it goes cheap, maybe, but to some extent for me, my time is becoming more important that I'd rather play new games than going back to the old ones. I mean, it's not bad, but backlog, if you know what I mean. So anyway, overall, this is good for Square Enix. They're finally doing something right, giving consumer option, especially on the Xbox. In the past, the reason why they kind of hesitate with the Xbox is a lot of people basically admit that when you put game on the Xbox, they don't sell. That's the biggest problem there, and that's why for a while they did not want to port it to the Xbox. But lately they said, hey, maybe this is not a good idea. We don't want to look bad, so maybe we should consider doing it. And if it sells, good. If it doesn't, well, we'll cut our losses. Because a game as of right now that unfortunately won't be an Xbox, and the producer actually admitted it, that is Ray Natalis. So the producer was in an interview, and they did say, how come there's no Xbox option? And the producer said, unfortunately for us, we can't put in Xbox because there's no demand, nobody's buying them. And that's why to some extent in America, as of right now, don't port games on the Xbox. Kind of dumb in my opinion, but again, it depends on how big the company is. Square Enix is big, Capcom's big, so it kind of makes sense. When it comes to NIS America, especially the developer for NautoAis, maybe it's not that effective, if you know what I mean. So we'll just have to wait and see if it eventually in the long run, but that's beside the point. So like I said, Square Enix can afford to kind of do a miss if some of the Square Enix game doesn't sell well on the Xbox because they're a big company. But again, you gotta keep in mind, Reboot and Awaken is the key for them. They try to do the exclusive way. People are upset. They're not selling well. They should be. Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Rebirth kind of show to a point that some of the stockholder did actually leave because of that. Again, just to wait and see. So there you go. Square Enix is on the roll, doing some good decision, starting 2024 and beyond. Reboots and Awakening. Final Fantasy games now on the Xbox console, along with Trial Mana and Legend of Mana. Then you might say, well, what about Secret of Mana? Okay, quick impression. I did give my in-depth impression a long time ago, but just to make it convenient, it may be good if you grew up like Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo. The remake sort of good. There is a bit of quality of life, but you're not gonna have fun to some extent, really. So I mean, even if they did try to release it for the Xbox, I don't think a lot of people are going to play it. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. But the game itself is fun. I mean, when it was first launched, it was buggy. But it's just you're playing like a PS2 game on a PS4. Just saying that. So anyway, with that, I'll see you guys later.